Hi there! Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Julie DiMatteo from thepaperpixie.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the US, and in this video tutorial I'm going to show you how to create this gift box, which is actually a shadow box sized to fit a 15 ml bottle of essential oil. I love the way that this box looks. I'm a big fan of shadow boxes. I've added a lid to it, and it's featuring the Toile Tidings Designer Series paper along with the Itty Bitty Christmas stamp set. So let me show you how easy this is to make. We're going to start with the shadow box first, and I have a piece of real red cardstock that measures 7 7/8 by 9 1/2. You can get one of these out of a sheet of 8 1/2 by 11. And on all four sides, we're going to score this at 3/8 of an inch, 1 1/2 inches, 1 7/8 inches, and 3 inches. And I'm going to repeat those measurements on all four sides. Now we've ended up on the long side, and on the long side I'm going to make 2 score lines, but only down to the 4th horizontal score line. So that first score line is at 2 5/8, bringing it down to the 4th horizontal score line, and 6 7/8, again down to that 4th horizontal score line. I'm going to rotate this 180 degrees, and we'll repeat those same measurements. Then I'm going to rotate this to the short side, and we're going to score this again only partially down the cardstock, but this time only down to the 2nd horizontal score line, and that's at 3 3/8 and 4 1/2. Again, stopping at that 2nd horizontal score line, rotate it 180 and repeat. And I think you can see those short score lines there. Those are really there to help us with cutting this shadow box, to give us that beautiful frame style with it, and also to help give us some structure. We're going to create some tabs. Next, I'm going to fold and burnish on all the score lines that go all the way across the cardstock. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to bring in a template here. I'm going to hold this sort of in portrait mode, and I'm going to come in 4 score lines and cut up 4 score lines. I'm not counting the short score line, so really it's probably up 5 score lines. But again, I'm going to come 1, 2, 3, coming in 4 score lines, cutting right up that score line, and stopping just before this larger section here. That's kind of the easiest way to notice that. Then I'm going to come in 3 score lines and stop again just before that big section. Okay. I'm going to rotate it a 1/4 turn. I'm going to remove this whole section here. So again, cutting right at that score line by that large section. And then I'm going to cut on that short score line that we made. This is creating that tab that's going to give this shadow box some structure. I'm going to rotate a 1/4 turn back, and now we're going to come in from the right side 4 score lines and cut up to just before this large section. And then again, come in 3 score lines, cutting up to the same stopping point. Rotate it a 1/4 turn, remove this whole section of score lines. And then cutting on that short score line we made to create that tab. Okay. We're going to repeat the same thing on the opposite side. So I rotated it 180, again coming in 4, cutting up 4, coming in 3, cutting up 4. Again, I'm not counting that short score line. Rotate it a 1/4 turn, remove that whole corner section, and then cut up this short score line. Okay, going to do the same thing on the opposite side. All right, so it looks like this so far. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually can see the score lines better here, but I've got these skinnier sections. I'm going to cut up those short score lines that we made. Again, stopping where that score line stops. And then I'm going to rotate it because here I want to cut from this score line on the diagonal up to the bottom of that cut line. I like coming from this angle. I'm right-handed, and I'll just cut in one fell swoop there. That's going to give us that diagonal cut that's going to give us that really nice shadow box frame. Then I just like to flip the cardstock, and again, cutting sort of in the same direction from the score line on the diagonal to the bottom of that cut line to create something that looks like this. Okay, now focused on the opposite side, we're going to do the same thing, just cut up those short score lines. Just going to turn it slightly so I can do that cutting again. So on the diagonal from the score line to the bottom of the cut line. Kind of flip the cardstock over again. I'm right-handed. This makes it easier. Like so. Now the last thing we need to do is to come in and notch or angle cut all of our edges. So I'm going to start on the tabs, kind of fold that section out of the way. I'm just going to come in and notch. And then I'm also going to notch on this outside section here as well. Rotate, repeat the same thing on the opposite side. Now the short sides are done. We're going to repeat the same thing. These outside sections, just come in and notch those. So now it looks like our template. Next, I'm bringing in tear and tape. I love this for shadow boxes. I'm going to run the tear and tape across all 4 of the tabs and then all 4 outside sections. I'm lining it right up to the score line, and I'm going to do that on all tabs and outside sections. All right, so I think you can see where the tear and tape is on all those sides and sections. Then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to place a little piece of tear and tape right along that little diagonal edge. It's okay if your tear and tape crosses over any of the score lines. It doesn't matter there. The important thing is that you get tear and tape right across that diagonal edge. That's going to help keep our shadow box frame in place. All right, so flipping it over, I'm going to remove the tear and tape from the 2 long sides first. And if you have any tear and tape hanging over the edge, just fold it back on itself. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to fold on that first score line and third score line, 1, 2, 3. So first and third, that allows me to press this down flat. That's using our score lines to square up the sides of the box. Rotating it, folding on the first and third score lines and pressing down flat. See how those are flat? But when you fold them up, they're starting to form the sides of our shadow box. Now the next thing I'm going to do is remove all the rest of the tear and tape from this back side or the outside. Like so. And then I am going to remove the tear and tape from these diagonal pieces. I've got it lifted up off my work surface because I don't want the tear and tape to stick. Much easier to remove the backings now than after we've put most of the box together. All right, so here's what the next step is. We're going to line up and glue down our tabs. So this score line with this cut edge to form one of our box corners. And then we're just going to work our way around. We are almost there. Next, we're going to line up this cut edge. I like to kind of fold it under and press that cut edge against the back wall here. And you'll feel it touch the back wall, and then you can just sort of roll this edge down into place. And as you do that, I like to kind of press in from the corner so that that corner stays nice and tight. And then remember, we have that tear and tape just behind those diagonal lines to give you that beautiful shadow box look. I'm going to repeat the same thing here. I'm kind of curling it down, pressing that cut edge as it's sticking to my fingers. It's on the back edge now. I can kind of roll that into place. And just sharpening up those box edges. But it is a really sturdy box now that it's put together. How cool is that? Now we had lavender in this box, which is my absolute favorite essential oil, and my second favorite is geranium. So we'll put that one in this box. And now let's get started on the box lid, which is really easy. I have another piece of real red cardstock that measures 3 7/16 by 5 1/16. That's just 1/16 more than 3 3/8. So 3 7/16 by 5 1/16. The 16th measurements help this box lid fit nicely over the box base. And we're just gonna score this on all 4 sides at 3/4 of an inch. I'm gonna fold and burnish on all the score lines. Then bringing in our template, I'm holding this in landscape. I'm gonna cut up each of the vertical score lines, stopping at the first horizontal. Fold the big section out of the way to isolate the tabs and then come in and notch them. Like so. Repeat the same thing on the opposite side. Like so. Now before we put the box lid together, I have a piece of the Toile Tidings Designer Series paper that measures 1 3/4 by 3 3/8. This pattern is not directional, but if it were directional, I recommend cutting it in portrait mode. I'm just gonna take some liquid glue and apply that to the box lid. And then let's put our box lid together. So I'm gonna start by putting liquid glue on 1 tab at a time. I'm gonna line up this score line with this cut edge to form that box corner. And then I'm just gonna work my way around to the remaining 3 corners. There we go, there's our lid. We'll place that over our box base, a really nice fit. And let's go ahead and decorate the box. I did some of the work ahead of time to create this tag. I stamped it in real red using the Itty Bitty Christmas stamp set. And the dies that I used were the little treat box dies, this beautiful stitched scalloped circle. And then the layering circles dies, I used the second smallest circle. I'm just gonna come in with a hole punch. This one specifically is retired from Stampin' Up, but it's a typical size hole punch. Just gonna punch that just above the word thinking. And then we're gonna use the beautiful real red 3/8 of an inch sheer ribbon. I'm first gonna feed the ribbon through the front of the tag because I like to tie my bows right off the spool. So I'm gonna bring that down quite a ways, then get ready to wrap this around our box. I start with the tail on the left and then I crisscross the spool from the right to the left. And then I also like to use a pair of reverse tweezers to help hold my knot in place while I tie the bow. And then the finishing touch is just a medium-sized pearl. And there we have our shadow box gift box. I love the surprise on the inside because from the outside it looks like a basic gift box, but when you open it, it's got that beautiful shadow box frame design. I love making these. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss my next video. If you're interested in purchasing any of the Stampin' Up! Products I used today, they'll be linked in the description. And I'll also include a link to my detailed blog post with all project measurements, details, and pictures of the templates. I'd love to have you come visit me at thepaperpixie.com where I post projects every weekday to inspire you. And if you don't want to miss a thing, you can subscribe to receive blog updates via email, and you'll receive an email each time I publish a new post. You can shop with me anytime at thepaperpixie.com/shop. And if you're interested in a discount on your Stampin' Up! Purchases, the starter kit is the ultimate bundle, and it's a great way to fill your wish list for less. You can join the Stampin' Up! Family and my team of Paper Pixies at thepaperpixie.com/join. I'm live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on both YouTube and Facebook, and I'd love to have you join me for my next Paper Pixie live broadcast. If you don't already have a demonstrator and you'd like a complimentary copy of one of our catalogs, you can order catalogs through me at thepaperpixie.com/catalogs. And if you give this project a try, I'd love to see what you made, so feel free to share it on social media with the hashtag #PaperPixie, and I'll be sure to check it out. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Take care. Bye.